Very good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eclectica, the Different News. As you all know that here I bring up interesting science careers and stories. So today I have Dr. Shiv Baalasubramanian with me. He is a very well-known person in the field of biotechnology, and he is the co-founder of ImmunitasBio Pvt Limited. Welcome, Shiv. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to be on my podcast. And I'm sure that we will have a blast today here.
Thanks, Gagi. Thanks for the opportunity. And, really enjoy such events to talk and tell about what we do in the field of immunology. So thanks for the invitation.
Shiv, before we go into understanding your work and the company, first of all, please let us know your inspiring story and the rich academic career and the professional career you have been through all these years. I know about it, but I'd be really happy if you tell to our audience. It would be very nice of you.
Thanks, Gagi. So I'm an immunologist by training. I have a PhD in immunology from AIIMS, New Delhi. And subsequent to that, I was in UK as a Wellcome Trust International Traveling Fellow, where I mainly worked on various aspects of immunology, particularly immunobiology of cancer, infectious disease, autoimmune diseases, both at the cellular and molecular level. And then in 2009, I moved to Singapore to head a program on infectious diseases, where I joined Singapore Institute of Clinical Sciences as a principal investigator and worked on flu. And then I was there in Singapore for 5 years and then moved to India to establish a company for a UK-US based company called Indoor Biotechnologies. Where the focus was allergy. So I helped them to set up the company from scratch in India and then ran the company as its executive director for 6 good years. And then COVID came and it took me in a different direction. And that's how I ended up at Immunitas, or ended up with ImmunitasBio, which I had to co-found to support COVID. So that's a sort of brief journey. And throughout my career, I've been mainly focused on immunology. So I have worked on various aspects of immunology, both at the molecular and cellular level, and that's where my experience comes from.
It's an amazing and very inspiring journey for many of us who look up to you. Like as you mentioned that due to COVID, maybe to fight COVID, inception of ImmunitasBio happened, but still, what was that point of inspiration that made you think and you decided that you should co-found your company, or you should be a part of this pathway?
Okay, so I have been mainly in the academic institutions in the past, but then I realized that the best use of my expertise, that are the learnings that I have from various academic institutions, is best utilized in the industry. And while I explored the opportunities to see how it can be utilized in the industry, but then the best chance came from by starting something on my own, which it gave me the freedom to operate. So that's how ImmunitasBio was started. And even before, also when I was working for Indoor Biotechnologies, I felt that gave me the best opportunity to utilize my scientific skills in providing some solutions to various industries, maybe it be in the FMCG sector or in the cancer immunotherapy or in the infectious disease side. It gave me a good opportunity to utilize the skills that I have acquired over the last 20 years.
Thank you, Shiv. Thank you for telling us the story behind ImmunitasBio. Can you tell us, what exactly is the core focus of your company? What is the core focus? What are you aiming to achieve through this entrepreneurial journey of yours?
Okay, so we have 3 different focus, I would say. The first one is immunological services. And these are not typical traditional services. These are specialized, cutting edge, bespoke assays to evaluate a vaccine's efficacy or cancer immunotherapy's efficacy or other therapeutic agents. It could be in the area of autoimmune diseases and so on. So that's a sort of specialized focus is what we have. So many companies are now developing the next generation therapies, which are mainly focused on antibodies, cell based, and so on. So for all these assays, for all these therapies, there is a requirement to do a lot of associated validations and developmental work. So we come in and play a role there, and that's our one of our primary focus. The second area that we focus is product development, where we want to develop products that are needed for the next generation therapies, like how I mentioned about the next generation therapies that are coming in cancer, infectious disease, and autoimmune diseases. How do we monitor them? When do we decide a particular patient needs the next dose of therapy, or whether the therapy is working, or what is the best suited therapy? So we are trying to develop some of the next generation diagnostics that will tell precisely a patient or a doctor what is the best suited therapy for a particular patient. So that's a sort of second focus that we have. Then the third focus that we have is in the area of cell and gene therapy, which is it's a program that we started very recently in collaboration with a US company, and that is to develop a next generation cell and gene therapy which overcomes all the current bottlenecks that are there in cell and gene therapy, like the use of viral vectors and so on. We want to do it without using all those viral vectors and all the bottlenecks that can be addressed. So again, an ambitious project, but that's the sort of path that we want to take.
Well, that's very interesting to know, because basically what I understand is that you are supporting other people who are developing things, but the validation part, whether it is I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, like the sensitivity, specificity, or probably whether the product is developed correctly or not. So that is where your focus lies, and that you're working on solving the bottlenecks of cell and gene therapies. I think this would be a game changer. So thank you, Shiv. Thank you for doing what you're doing. So just that I came across a news, and I know that you are developing something. So is there any recent breakthrough that you have achieved, or that Immunitas Bio have achieved, that you would like to share with us?
So we have, and at this stage, I won't be able to share anything, which is most of our findings are very confidential at this stage. But what we can tell you is we have developed a platform that enables one to measure T cell immunity. So far, the diagnostic industry, when it comes to immunological parameters, we go back to CBC counts and so on. And the maximum that we do is measure antibodies. But our body is protected significantly by a type of cell called T cells. And these T cells are the one that goes around your body and checks whether there are any cancer cells or if there is an infected cell and so on. And they clear very efficiently. And we don't have any diagnostic test that measures the potency or the efficacy of these T cells. So we are trying to develop a test that can measure T cells functionality. And the goal here is to bring the T cells functionality into clinical diagnostics. By doing so, we want to have a situation like how we have a kidney function test, a liver function test. Can we have an immune function test?
Wow.
So the immune function test can be a very specific function. For example, if you want to know that whether you have protection against SARS-CoV-2, we can tell you whether you have protection is there or not from your T cell immunity, or against a flu or some other cancer antigen. So we can customize this and then develop this into any kit, like customize this and develop it for a particular disease condition or a therapeutic intervention. So that's a sort of our recent breakthrough is on this area. And we recently got awarded a grant by the central government, which is the DBT BIRAC, for developing a similar test for celiac diseases, which is a condition where people become immune to wheat allergen, wheat protein, and it's a T cell mediated test disease. So far the diagnostic tests that are currently available is all secondary to the T cell mediated pathology. So why can't we develop a test that can be that can use the primary cause of the disease? So that is where we are focusing on, and we want to expand this to other disease areas like cancer, other cell and gene therapies, and so on. Those are all work that is in progress, so we won't be able to disclose too much information about how the test is done and so on. But as we progress, we will be able to share information.
That's amazing to know. That's amazing to know. Shiv, like you have been into this path, and your three focuses that you very precisely told us. I'm sure that this is not an easy path, and the kind of groundbreaking work you are doing, and the kind of projects that you are heading in front, taking the science forward so much, particularly thinking to bring it, develop more on the clinical translation part. What was your biggest challenge in this entire path? What was the biggest challenge you faced in developing this kind of new therapies on the platforms? That would be very interesting to know.
Okay, so one of the biggest challenge would be, it is not that I do the work everything, and it is finding the team. And while I was lucky enough to have some fantastic colleagues who have been well trained, but it is not easy to find them, because if you want to do good quality work, you need good quality people. So particularly in the area that we are in, immunology is not a very familiar thing for India. So that way, finding people is one of the biggest challenge, I would say. The second thing is the infrastructural requirement. We are heavily dependent on reagents that are coming from outside the country. Even a simple ELISA kit that we use, which is a more than a 50-year-old technique, we are still importing those ELISA kits, and it takes 3 to 6 weeks to get an ELISA kit. So the time is another major challenge when we have a dependency on imported products is there. So one of our goal is to see if we can create some of those import substitutions, but so far we have not been effectively do something on those lines. But that's something which we have in our pipeline in the long run, that can we create import substitution for all these high value imported products. So these are the two major challenges that I would say. The third thing, that when it comes to product development, is regulatory framework. While we have an established path for traditional assays and traditional diagnostic tests, but something novel, something out of box comes through, the path for that is not yet very clear. Although I would say that the regulators are in India are doing fantastic job. They are coming up to speed, and they are supporting, and they're talking to startups and so on, but still we have a long way to go. But the best thing is, I would say, despite all the challenges, we are really progressing well. And not only us, I mean the industry, but even as a industry as a whole, as a nation, we are doing fantastic in there. But there are challenges associated with it. But these are our major challenges that, I would say.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Shiv, for answering that question. Like we talk about immunotherapy in cancer, or the correlation of cancer therapy and immunology. So, a lot has happened, and it's all going on still. So, as an expert, where do you see this field going ahead, or what is the trend in this field in the next 5 to 10 years that the world can witness or we can witness? What would be your take on this?
Yeah, I think immunotherapy will become the mainstream therapy in the next 10 years or so, is my hope. However, the cost is a big deterrent for that, and that's where I feel countries like India can play a role. where we can develop these products at an affordable price and make it easily accessible, not only in India, even in other markets, in other geographies. One of the major drawback of all these immunotherapies is the cost associated with it. So that is one thing that I feel will happen. The second thing is immunotherapies are all these things are mostly personalized therapies. So it's not that you can, for example, chemotherapy. It is broadly given, but immunotherapies cannot be done that way. So we need to while all these immunotherapies are showing good results, but their clinical efficacy is around 30-40%. So if we have to improve the efficacies of these therapies, then we really need to bring in a lot of tools to monitor them and to identify or stratify patients who is suitable for what sort of therapies. So I feel this is the direction that the field is going to take over the next 10 years, where immunotherapy will become the mainstream therapy for cancer, and not only for cancer, for other conditions as well. So that's the sort of thought process that I have about immunotherapies. And immunology, will become one of the main players of various therapies. And immunology is not just going to be in clinical therapy or diagnostics. Immunology will also enter in a big way into your day-to-day products like FMCG products, and it's already happening.
Thank you, Shiv, for sharing your wonderful insights. It was very valuable for everybody of us. So, I have a little separate question. Well, I understand the kind of work you do. You are an entrepreneur. You work on so high end techniques. But how do you balance your personal life with such a heavy, hectic entrepreneurial life? So I really want to understand from you.
Well, entrepreneur's life, and particularly if you are a founder or a co-founder, it's not easy. It comes with a lot of challenge and sacrifices. But if you can assemble a team around you, which is reliable, trustworthy, and capable of delivering the high quality work, then I think it can make your life easier a little bit. But still, as a founder, as a co-founder, there are certain things that only I can take the responsibility and do it. It does affect a little bit about the personal life front. But when you have a supportive and understanding family, it becomes a little easier. So yeah, I think there are days it really challenging, but it's needs a little bit of planning, and communication is key in all this, because there are stakeholders both at work and at home front. So communication is key, and I feel when you communicate effectively, things can be managed well, is what I feel. But as a startup, this is the path. There is no shortcut to this. One has to go through till we reach a certain stage where we can delegate majority of the things, and but at this stage, being a small company, there is a lot on the shoulders, and it comes with a little bit of price.
True, very true. So, Shiv, we are almost coming at the concluding part of our conversation. But before you go, I would like to understand that where do you see Immunitas Bio in the next 5 years?
Uh, we want to be recognized for the work that we have done in the last 5 years. In 5 years time, I mean, particularly in the field of immunodiagnostics and predictive health. We want to be recognized as one of the top players globally. That's one of our ambition. And secondly, if on the cell and gene therapy side, if we are able to realize our goal, we will be also known for cell and gene therapy contribution, or how we can bring some radical changes in the cell and gene therapy area. So those are the two things that I feel like, we want to make an impact in the next 5 years. And if we can be recognized for those two, I think we will be very happy. And in terms of company, I hope we will be in a much larger company, and we were able to bring in more employment opportunities for people. I think that is also another facet of entrepreneurship, is like, we were able to generate employment for people. And that's another and if we can generate another a lot of more employment opportunity, I think we will be very happy.
True. Very true. I think if there were no entrepreneurship, then I think we cannot think of ecosystem if entrepreneurship is not there. So yeah, I mean, we as entrepreneurs, one good thing that we earn from life is blessings, kindness from people. At least we are able to create opportunities in our own small way. So Shiv, you have such a extensive experience, not only academic, professional, entrepreneurial. So there are a lot of people, maybe they are now very young biotech people, or even people who have entered into entrepreneurship. So what would be your message for aspiring life science entrepreneurs in in biotech? What would be your message to them?
Okay, it's it's really difficult to to give a clear path for anybody, because the best part of entrepreneurship is what worked for X may not work for Y. You have to carve your own path and move forward. Just because something worked for me doesn't mean that it is going to work for somebody else. It's very unlikely. So and everybody has to carve their own path. And the second thing is, you need to be passionate about it. There is no shortcut here. You can't get success overnight. Think whether you have the patience and the perseverance to wait for 5 years or even 10 years. So that is another important aspect. And some people say you can start entrepreneurship when you are young and so on. Yes, starting young has your own advantage, but people like me, I became entrepreneur much later, at around my 40s. So both has its own advantage and disadvantage. But before you jump into this, make sure that you will be able to give a commitment for at least 5 to 10 years, minimum of 5 years. Otherwise, it's going to be a challenge. If you think that you can get some overnight success within a year or two, that's impossible.
Thank you so much, Shiv, for all the insights and your valuable message. I'm sure from this podcast, many people have a lot of points of inspiration to take, and a lot of new information we all got. Just before I say goodbye to you, can you tell us, like, if somebody is interested to check out the services, the platforms that you talked about, your technologies, how can they, where all on they can find the information to reach out to Immunitas Bio?
Sure. So we call ourselves as your immunology partner. So if you have anything that is related to immunology, if you want to talk to us, you can reach out to us. We have a website, which is immunitasbio.com. And we are also on LinkedIn and Instagram and so on. You can follow us on our social media posts and get to know what are our recent developments and the progress that we are making every now and then. So those are all the two portals, and other than that, you can get in touch with us via the website. There is a contact us page, so that is also possible. So there are multiple ways by which you can be in touch with us. And if anybody has anything that they want to discuss or talk to us about regarding immunology, or they have any challenges that they would like to, want to discuss and see if we can help them, please, you can get in touch with us via our website.
Thank you so much, Shiv. It was wonderful talking to you, and I think in near future we'll catch up again with more interesting stuff to learn from you. Thank you so much for being here, and it was wonderful time spent together.
Again, thanks, Gargi, for inviting me for this event, and also giving us the opportunity to tell the audience what we do at ImmunitasBio and what our journey has been, and what we can we can do for the society or for the in the biotech industry in India and outside the world. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.
Goodbye.